Hey guys, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with a Veve Omi update video. Guys, if you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I love you all. Everyone say, where's Dashy? Where's Dashy? Oh, again, Dashy's just guarding the apartment while I am currently not at the apartment watching the snowfall. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, I've actually gotten this question more than once, and it's not really an old versus new. This is just, what versus what? And it's Disney's Elsa versus DC's Superman, and who's going to be the winner? Who's going short term, long term? So here's my prediction. Here's my why. Spoilers for Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. If you haven't seen that, spoilers for Frozen and Frozen 2. If you haven't seen that, because we're going to be talking about them and why I have the ideas that I do. I think that short to medium term, Superman will outpace Elsa and continue to outpace Elsa for a while, for probably a few years. Probably the majority, a decent amount of this decade, if at least the next 2 years. And I say this because, well, there's only one Superman, and I get it. There's only one Elsa, but there's less Superman. And aside from the fact that Elsa's like a thirst trap, Superman is very, very good. Like, he's probably the best looking NFT on the app. He is absolutely gorgeous. Like that detail, that, I don't know, like the hips don't necessarily align with the rest of the body. They're like disconnected, but looks beautiful. Like the eyes, the hair, like the pose. It's just like, that's the perfect spectacle of a man, or alien, if you were. Why I only say short to midterm is because the movies have not been handled that well. And I thoroughly enjoy Man of Steel, and I recommend people watch that, and I really do recommend Batman v Superman. But what are some of the problems with it? It's not that nostalgic. Now let me, my history and my reasoning. I love the 90s Superman. I love I'm more nostalgic for Dean Cain's Superman from the 90s. I am more nostalgic for, the 90s Superman, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, because if I go and I try to recognize or repeat any of the lines that Superman says from Man of Steel or Batman v Superman, I can't. I can think of two. I can think of I can think of him snapping the other, Zod's neck and going like, like screaming. And then I can picture him saying like, Martha, and Batman going, why did you say their name? But that's really it. I can't think of any really cool, fun dialogue for that, for those movies. And I've seen both of them a couple of times. And I haven't seen the 90s Superman. I haven't seen the, Justice League or Justice League Unlimited in years, like long time. But I could still remember a few really good things about that. I'm more nostalgic for that. And, I could remember him saying, like, in Justice League, they had like a Christmas episode and they had Santa Claus. And I forget who was at Superman's house. Maybe it was the Flash. And Superman's parents were saying, oh, yes, I remember we used to have to, wrap his presents in lead so we couldn't use his X-ray vision to see what it was. And then Superman's eating breakfast like, you mean Santa wrapped them? And then, they're like, yes, Santa wrapped. Like that was cute. That was adorable. Like that was fun. I remember that. I remember, Superman in the night, again, Dean Cain, like there's a car speeding away. So it goes, he makes that suck. He inhales so, with such force that the car, suddenly like reverses and it comes back. I was like, that's cool. He checks out Terry Hatcher. He does some really cool things, and I am nostalgic for that. And that being said, that was the 90s. And the 90s stuff is generally considered good for its time. But, versus some of the stuff in the 2010s or now, it doesn't really hold up. And even so, even with that, like how many hundreds or thousands of stories have we seen in the comic books and in the TV shows of Superman before he dies, and they kill him in 2 freaking movies? That is, again, handled it a complete wrong way, in my opinion. So I do think that just because there's only one of him on the app right now, and there's probably more coming, but that Superman will outperform Elsa short to midterm, is because he's like one of the most well-known superheroes in the world. But Elsa is the first Disney princess on the app. On Veve, Disney decided to have Elsa first. Well, why? I can think of a couple reasons that they probably have at least one more, if not multiple more movies for Frozen, for Elsa, for that. And again, unlike things, let's say like Stranger Things, and unlike things like the Chronicles of Narnia, where the people age out, that doesn't happen with Elsa. It doesn't happen with Anna. It doesn't happen with The Incredibles. It doesn't happen with these things because they can continue to be that age or around that age and not age for forever. So you can consistently and constantly do that. But really why I think it's going to be so epic, and she already is because ask anyone that's older, ask anyone my age or above. I'm 31, so late 20s, early 30s, but really 30s and above. Ask them what is like the most popular song from a movie that's been constantly played over and over to the point of like it's overplayed. And one of the first things that's in their mind is probably going to be "Let It Go." For those of you that maybe are a little younger, that maybe don't relate, that was everywhere in 2014. Now the movie came out in 2013, and again they're going to continue to have great movies throughout. But the people that saw that were, let's say born in the 90s or 2000s, whatever, and they get really nostalgic for it, they're going to grow up, they're going to get big boy and big girl jobs, and they're going to go and buy Elsa because, again, that was, when I saw that movie, I didn't see it at first, like, it's like a girl movie, and then, my friend Harnish, she's like, yo, when I was in Afghanistan, and like I saw that movie like 5 times, like, really? It's like, yeah, it's really good. It's like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And it was great. And I remember thinking that this was probably one of the best movies, if not the best movie since Lion King. And there's some really good Disney movies out, during that time. And I also make the comparison of like Let It Go. When was the last time a Disney movie thing like went crazy viral like that? And it was probably Hakuna Matata. Like, that was the last time I really remember something being so ubiquitous that people were singing it in the street. If there was an internet in the 90s that was as ubiquitous as it is now, they would have played that Hakuna Matata everywhere. The only other time I maybe saw that at like maybe a karaoke night, it's people saying, "Let's get down to business," like Mulan. But that's really it. And so that's why long term I think Elsa will outperform Superman. It's because of those reasons. It's because of the reasons that Superman's great, but the greatest things that people are nostalgic for, I think, are really from the 90s and the 2000s and the comic books. The movies have, again, Henry Cavill is amazing and is like the perfect casting. DC does the best casting in the world, but the movies just, again, they just have not gotten those off the ground the way that Marvel has. And I do think that, again, fictional characters have this, why did I go all into Pokemon cards out there, instead of sports cards? Because Pokemon is a lot less speculative. And sport. Let's say you really like this sports person, and then it turns out that let's say they beat their girlfriend, or they kicked a dog, or they did something, and they get hashtag canceled. Elsa is not. It's not going to come out that Elsa was like the next Lorena Bobbitt. It's not going to come out that Elsa was part of like the next Ghislaine Maxwell. And again, Henry Cavill seems like the most amazing person ever, or one of them. But with other actors, it seems like there's always that possibility. So that's why I think Superman from the 90s, from 2000s, That is what people are nostalgic for, and they just really not as good as Elsa, as Frozen, because again, they were like, 15, 20 years before then. Um, and Elsa just had that gift of time. The technology's better, and the story writing just got better. 90s is really when it like kind of kicked off. You had Batman the animated series. You had some really good adult stuff. They have Gargoyles. You had Spider-Man the animated series, and people kind of had to like, oh, can we get away with this? They would kind of toe the line. They didn't necessarily know where that was, but by 2013, you definitely do. And yeah, I would say that is why long term, Elsa will outperform Superman for the NFTs. Again, Disney golden moment, plus it's Elsa, and again, it's just my opinion. Could I be wrong? Absolutely, but that is again. I don't have either of them. I don't have a Superman. I don't have an Elsa, so I'm not trying to like pump my bags one way or the other. I think they're both. Honestly, both long term, very very good. Short and long term, they're both very very good. But I think Elsa does squeak out that win, but by a decent margin. Tune in next time where I go and I talk about why I think the Omi is going to be like, $10 at some point, maybe this decade. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I love you all, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, goodbye. Meow, 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 meow.